Question number 4, sub-question 1. We are gonna answer B, C, and D for this sub-question. Those are the remaining groups of questions for this sub-question. The way to answer this is to read each and every question that we have to answer, because as you can see, I put here a number signifying that letter C, this answer group, should help us answer the previous question, answer group B. And then from this first answer group, we go to the third one, and that's how we can answer the question. So what that means is, if we don't understand how we can solve the first question in the sub question, we go to the next one, and then from there we can identify what should be the correct answer for the previous question. Okay, if we go up to the description, we can see that we have the 3 blanks here, and we need to fill up the blanks. We need to also understand that we do have a diagram, and the diagram is saying that previously we had only one computer lab, but now we do have another one, and what we want to do is to also know the numbers regarding the computer lab number 2. When I say the numbers, I mean, for example, the subnet mask, the IP address range, and also the default gateway. Okay, here I put the number of computers and devices that would have an IP address. We know that we'll be adding 20 PCs for trainees, and then we have these devices here, which I counted to 5, and so we have 25 devices, including the PCs, that would need an IP address. The other computer lab would have its own set of computers and devices, and also its set of IP addresses. We need to take note of that because we will be asked regarding the new IP address range that we'll be using for the computer lab number 2. The other thing that we should take note of is we need only the minimum number of IP addresses to cover all network devices in computer lab number 2, because there would be choices in the set of questions where we can choose one or the other, but if one is using the minimum number of IP addresses, then that would be the correct answer. The other thing here is that for the letter D, which is the default gateway, we will be assigning the last IP address. We do know that we have a range, and we need to get the last assignable IP address from that range. Okay. This question, to be honest, is a little bit difficult to figure out. I did make mistakes a few times when I was answering this question, and I think I would classify this to be a difficult question. And we'll see why it's also difficult. So we go first with answer group for C, which I put here the first one that we should answer. We skip answer group for B. So remember that we need a minimum number of IP addresses in our range. And what we can find out is if, for example, letter A is saying we have a range between 16 and 31, that would give us only 15 IP addresses. And remember, a while ago I was doing the counts. We need 25. So letter A is not correct. And then I had to choose between letter B or letter C because the other ones are definitely more than what we would need. Letter B and letter C have 31 IP addresses. And I think that should be sufficient for the 25 that I counted a while ago. So how do you choose which one is the correct answer? I think we need to look into first this part here regarding the 27. Okay, if we don't know what 27 is supposed to mean here, then we'll run into problems with answer group for B. And the way this is explained is, because this one also has 27, right? Is if we have the subnet mask, remember we are choosing the answer for the first question where there would be the subnet mask that will be used for the next computer lab number 2. And we see here the 27 number. Again, we have here 27, 27, and the set of answers, the set of choices from answer group 4B would have the subnet mask, okay? So 27 means that if we have, for example, the subnet mask in this way, and we need to make it binary, we have 8 here like this, 8, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, totaling to 8, and this one as well, and this one as well. So that would be 24, 8, 16, 24, and then plus 3 to get 27. Now, the other thing we should note is if we are coming from left to right, the 3 remaining here would be 1, 2, and 3, and then the rest would be 0, okay? Because previously what I did was I put the 3 from the right, and that's why I got the wrong number here. Now, if we were to count it and make the binary into numbers where we got 255, then how do we get 255? For each of the binary here, we know that the binary would have either a 0 or 1, and therefore we use the number 2 to mean that this is 1 or 0. Therefore, there would be 2 possibilities, and therefore we put 2 is to 1. But since we have another one here, then that would make it 2 raised to the second power in terms of possibilities, okay? And we do that up to the 8th. So 2 to the 8th, which gives us 256. The thing is, we have to deduct 1. That's why we'll get 255 because we know that 0 is included. So if the whole thing is 0, then that's also one of the numbers. That's also counted as one of the numbers. And therefore, we do a -1. Now, for the last part, the rightmost part, how did we get 224? It's because if we do the 2 to the 1, 2 to the 1, 2 to the second, 2 to the third, 2 to the fourth, 2 to the fifth, 2 to the sixth, 2 to the seventh, and 2 to the eighth, and all the binary numbers that have as its value 1, then we can add them as so, because this is the sixth. 2 to the sixth is 32, and then 2 to the seventh is 64, and 2 to the eighth is 128. We add that, that's why we get 224. Okay? Alright, so once we have that, we can then choose letter D as the correct answer because the last part here is 224. Take note that we're pretty much just changing the last set of numbers, because if we look at the range, it's also just changing the last set of numbers, right? Okay, so now that we know what the answer for group B is, we still don't know what the answer for group C is. Still either C or B. We should then move on to the third answer group for D. Okay, now for answer group D is saying that we're choosing the default gateway and it should be the last assignable IP address. Okay, and if you look at the choices, we don't see here 47 at all, which means that for answer group for C, letter C is the correct answer, because this one there's no 47 or even 46 or even any of the numbers close to 47. So that should solve answer group for C. Now for answer group for D, actually I think at the time, I think it was yesterday, I chose letter D, 63, but it turns out it's letter C, 62. And I'm thinking that the reason for that is because, first, remember that we chose letter C and the last number here in the range is 63, right? So I chose 63 yesterday, but turns out it should be 62. We know that 63 minus 1 is 62. And I was thinking that if we look at this one here, where I did a minus 1, it seems like that should be the explanation. And again, the reason why we did minus 1 instead of 256 in this case is because we already have 0 as the 256th, we can say. Now, in that sense, if for example, this one is the 224, why don't we do a minus 1 here, right? Why not make it 224 minus 1, which is 223? I'm thinking that it's because we already did a minus 1 to get 255. Okay? And therefore, because we already did a minus 1 there, we don't need to change this to 223. The thing is, when we're talking about the number, for example, for answer group for D, then since 0 is included in the count, then we do a minus 1 here. That's why it's 62. I think that's the explanation why letter C is the correct answer for answer group for D. And I think that should solve this problem and explain how we got the answers. And I think that should be enough for now.